There's Cass. Is there an echo when I'm by myself? Hey, hello, Ray. Is there an echo when I'm by myself? Can you hear me? Bubba, I love you, Biggs. Hey, Erica, love you too, girl. Hey, will somebody tell me if there's an echo right now by myself? And we're back. Eric, is there an echo when I'm by myself? Somebody talk to me. Sounds good. Okay, so it sounds good. So let's see what happens when I bring Cheri on, and hopefully this will work. I've never done this before, so. Okay, Cheri, are you on here? Mariana, good to see you, good to see you. Cheri, come back in here, please. Sounds good on my end. Okay, sounds funny to me because I got the earphones in, but no echo when you're solo. Testing 1, 2, 3. Cheri, where are you at, Cheri? Okay, hopefully it will not. Please, God, don't let it echo when we bring Cheri on. Cheri, I need you to comment so I can bring you in. Sorry, guys, this is a freedom feature. Was awesome. Yes, it was. It was awesome. Cheri, come on in so I can bring you on. It's easier to do when you comment. Sorry that this is being difficult, but I haven't done this before, so I don't know all the ins and outs of the bringing somebody on. Cheri, where are you at? There you are. Okay. All right, I'm going to bring you on. Don't mess this up. I think it has something to do when you bring somebody on with you. I don't know. We're fixing to find out. Oh, it's fixing to bring Dawn on. That'll be a different truck church. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, why is it not letting me bring? It's letting me bring anybody else I want on but Cheri. Why is that? What? Cheri wants to be in your video. Approve. Please work, please work.
Okay.
Okay, I don't hear an echo. Somebody talk to me. Hey, I'm not that bad. No, Donna, I'd love to have you on here. That would just be a different. We're not ready today. Somebody tell me, please tell me there's no echo. Cheri, what's it sound like on your end?
For the most part, it sounds good. There's like a slight little bit of like distortion.
Okay. I might try it without the earbuds, but I'll wait and see what people say. I'm going to try it without the earbuds just because okay. How's it sound now? This will work fine? Is this okay?
It sounds good on my side.
Okay, sounds good on your side. Hey, Jennifer, what's it sound like? Do you hear an echo or no? A little echo, it's good though, roll with it. Okay, I'm sorry. A little garbled and slight echo. That's okay. That's all right. The topic is important, so I should have expected something to not be right. Tanya, Michelle, good to see y'all. Small echo, not as bad. I'm going to do some research and find out how you do that without all the static. So, okay, let's go ahead and pray. Let's bring it on. All right, thank y'all for putting up with the echo. All right, here we go. Lord God, I just thank you for this day that you've given us and blessed us with. Thank you for your word that's sharper than any two-edged sword. Thank you for my friend Cheri. Thank you for our friendship over our whole entire life, pretty much. And we thank you for Truck Church, that you use that as a tool to draw her to yourself. And she was saved, Father God, because of Truck Church, and I'm just thankful for that. One of my best friends getting saved. And I thank you for last week we talked about stewardship, humanity's roles, men's roles, women's roles. Talked about some real hard stuff, but real stuff. And ever since then, Cheri and I have been talking over the last few days and have just kind of uncovered some more stuff. So I wanted to bring that up again, share some of it, let her talk, and I'm just thankful that she's willing to do that. I think this is her first time to do something like this, but it's not even a big deal. So it's just like talking to each other. Thank you for everybody that's watching now and that's going to watch later on the replay. And I pray that some things will be said that will impact people, that will touch people. And we just give you all the honor and glory for it in Jesus' name. Amen. 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 How's everybody doing? We are having a few technical difficulties, but we're gonna roll with it. All right.
I
So
think
this is.
Cassie's right though. Slow down a little bit when you talk, and it doesn't distort as bad.
Oh man, me slowing down talking is gonna be hard. All
No.
right. Slow down. Okay. So, so this is Cheri. This is one of my best friends since we were little kids. Homer Morgan, good to see you, buddy. Cheri has been a friend of mine since we were little bitty, and then she started watching Truck Church to support me because it was something new for me. And then after a few weeks, God just got a hold of her, tugged her heart, and then she called me, and she got saved over the phone. So it's like a super huge honor and privilege for me. Ray, quit laughing, dude. So anyway, last week we talked about stewardship, the big Bible word for being a manager of somebody else's goods. And so, in the context of this, everybody that's born, pretty much, even more so once you get saved, you become a manager of God's goods. Every gift, talent that you have, every good deed that you will ever do, those things that you do that impact people. Would you say, Mariana? Try muting your end, Cheri. Oh, I wonder if that'll work. Can you mute your end?
How do you do it? How do you mute it?
I don't know, girl. I'm learning as I go. I'm not sure. So we'll figure it out. They're saying it's okay, so we'll be all right. We'll figure it out next time. We'll do some research on it. But every good thing that you can do or you're capable of, your gifts, your talents, things like that, um, none of it you can't take credit for any of it. Absolutely everything you do is because God has given those things to you. Anyway, the long story short, to keep it simple, does she need to mute? I don't know how to even mute on Facebook, so I don't know. This is our first time to try this, so we're figuring it out as we go. So basically, stewardship is we are managers of God's gifts. Okay. So one of the things that we started breaking down was the stewardships of humanity. And just real quick, that was we're made in the image of God. We are made for relationships. We need to be engaged in relationships, friendships, any type of relationship you can think of. We were made to. We were created in His image. So basically, she won't be able to. Sadly, Facebook. That is the issue. Okay. So we are representatives of God. So one of the stewardships we have is we live our life. Still got crackling and feedback. Okay, and I don't know how to get rid of it, so we're gonna march on anyway. So I think it's only when I talk though, Cheri. So what I'll do is I'll get my spill out of the way, and then I'll quit talking and turn it over to you here in a second. So anyway, one thing I can do, Cheri, I can take you off of the live for now, do my spiel, and then bring you on when it's your turn. You want to try that?
We can do that.
Let's do that. Because I think it'll cut out the static. I'll bring you back on in a second. Okay, did that kill the static? Because I don't hear any static on my end now. It quit. Yep, it's something about bringing somebody on. So Cheri, stay with me. I'm going to bring you on in a minute. Let me catch us up, and then I'll bring you on, and I won't talk, and I'll let you get your spill out. So stewardship. We are made for relationships. We are made in God's image. We are to represent God on this earth. That is one thing that God created for all of humanity. And then we started breaking down some individual things where God told us that we were supposed to, well, we'll just read it first. It's Genesis chapter 1. Just a quick recap in case you weren't here last time. And we're going to focus in on two things real quick. So Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful, which meant just to make babies pretty much. Multiply meant to raise those children with a target in mind. Fill the earth. occupy the earth, subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea and every living thing. And we ended that talking about we were designed to have dominion over everything, but after the fall of man, it seems like everything in the world has dominion over us. And that's kind of how we're pursuing and trying to go along in our life, by not allowing other things to have dominion over us, because God gave us the stewardship or the managing ability to have dominion over everything. And then you can just fill in the blanks with what people are being dominated by. And a lot of times, I guess, a go-to that we go to is drugs. Drugs is like the easiest example. Somebody that is addicted to drugs, and I'm not picking on drug addicts, it's the same for alcoholics, it's the same for any type of sin or whatever somebody might get caught up in. But drugs is just the easiest to talk about because everybody either knows somebody or has somebody in their family that deals with that. But a person that is consumed with an addiction no longer has dominion over their own bodies or anything else. Matter of fact, they start doing things that are outside of their character, outside of their personality, because now the drugs have dominion over them, and they're doing whatever it is that whenever the drugs mess up their mind, whatever their mind thinks of, that's what they go and do. But what we really want to hit on is in Genesis 2:15. So Genesis 2:15, we find where God finally gives man his specific stewardship. And I won't go into a lot of detail because we just covered it to death last week, but I'm going to hit the basis of it and then talk about a question that Cheri had for me a couple of days ago, and we've been going back and forth, chopping some stuff up. She had some amazing thoughts. So Cheri was not born and raised in church. She has not been well churched. Thank God she is not churchy. She is very new to this, but she's always been a super sharp, super bright person. And so she gets, the thing I like about bouncing things off of Cheri's mind is she has such a fresh, clear perspective of things that is not filtered through being well churched or being churchy. So she sees things for what they are, and then she has a lot of just good, honest questions. And it's just good to go back and forth with her, and she doesn't filter everything through her lifelong journey through church, because that was non-existent. So here's what we read. Genesis chapter 2 verse 15 says, "Then the Lord took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to tend and to keep it." So man was made outside of the garden, and then God took him and put him in the garden. And as soon as he put him in this garden, he gives him this stewardship, and he tells him to tend and to keep it. And I told you that being raised on a farm that my grandparents owned, I imagine my grandpa saying to tend and to keep something. I would think that meant the same thing. So when I was in prison, I broke down these two words and found out the word tend literally means just to work. Whenever you get to the word keep, you have a Hebrew word called shamar, which means a whole load of other things. And it breaks down into basically like this. This is going to bring the meat and no milk tonight. Oh, wait till Cheri gets on. She's got some good stuff. So to keep means things like to protect self, protect selves, to beware, to be a watchman, be on the lookout. And then one of the last things in the Hebrew says something is lying in wait trying to get in. So God makes Adam, puts him in this garden, and then gives him a stewardship. Protect this with your life. Guard this with your life. Beware, be a watchman, be on the lookout. Something is lying in wait, trying to get in, is what he had told Adam when he put him in the garden. So what you need to consider is whenever he put him in the garden, anything that falls inside that garden falls inside of that stewardship. So when he brings him to the garden, tells him, protect this and guard this with your life. Be a watchman, beware, be on the lookout, protect it with your life. Something is lying in wait trying to get in. That pertained to the garden. But then the Bible goes on to say that he put Adam to sleep, took a rib, and he created Eve in the garden. So now we have something new in the garden. But just because you have something new in the garden doesn't mean that it doesn't correlate with the stewardship. So now that he told Adam, protect this and guard this with your life, beware, something is lying in wait trying to get in, be a watchman, boom, he puts Eve in there. Now Eve has fallen underneath that stewardship. Guard her with your life, protect her with your life, beware, be a watchman, be on the lookout. Something is lying in wait, trying to get in. Okay. So now that we know that God told Adam the rules. You can eat of every tree that you want to. Don't eat of the tree of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. So we know he told Adam that. And because Adam's stewardship is to protect everything and guard everything with his life and to beware because something is lying in wait trying to get in, we know that Adam was supposed to tell Eve. We know that he told Eve because whenever the Satan is talking to Eve, he says, did God really say that you couldn't eat of the tree? And she says, not only can we not eat of it, but we can't even touch it, which is not what God had even said. But we know from that conversation that Adam told her something because she had a response insinuating that she knew the rules. We can't eat of that fruit. She just kind of added to it a little bit by we're not even supposed to touch it. The problem is a couple of things. One, Genesis chapter 3 starts off with Satan was more cunning than any other living beast. And then he asked Eve a question. The problem is right there. The problem is not that Eve ate the fruit. The problem is not that Eve was deceived. The problem is Satan is not only in the garden, but he's talking to Eve. Okay? That's problem number one because Adam was told, you guard all things with your life. You guard it. You protect this with your life. You beware. You be a watchman. You be on the lookout. Something, he gave him the warning. Something is lying in wait, trying to get in. So problem number one is Adam was told not to let anything in the garden and to protect the garden with his life. Well, then God makes Eve in the garden. So now she falls underneath that stewardship that Adam is supposed to manage. Satan is not only in the garden, but Satan is now having a conversation with Eve, Adam's wife. Here's our problem. We all want to blame it on Eve. We all want to say she shouldn't eat the fruit. Oh, Eve must have been here and Adam was hiding around another tree or he was behind this bush or whatever. That's not the issue because where's Adam? So that brother broke this down so good whenever we recorded that, Don. It was amazing. But here's something to add to what he was saying. Adam was not over there hiding behind a tree. Adam was not over there uh, behind a bush where he couldn't see what was going on. Adam cannot say he was out fishing. He didn't know that Satan was in the garden talking to Eve, his wife, because whenever it says that Eve took a bite of the fruit and Adam was with her, we want to say that that meant Adam was in the garden, but not necessarily beside her. The problem is the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, and the Hebrew word for with her literally translates into elbow to elbow. So Adam is not behind a tree. He's not out fishing. He's not behind a bush, not knowing that Satan is talking to his wife, Eve. The Bible says that Adam was with her, elbow to elbow. He was right there. The man knew his stewardship. Adam, guard this with your life, protect it with your life, be a watchman, be on the lookout. Something is lying in wait, trying to get in. He knew that. That pertained to the garden, and it pertained to Eve as soon as he put Eve in that garden. The problem is not Eve taking the fruit. The problem is Satan is in the garden, and problem number two is Satan is talking to Eve. When you were told to guard it with your life, you have no excuse because God told you the rules, and he gave you the answers to the test. Something is lying in wait trying to get in and wreck everything, Adam. And then here he is, after he has told his wife the rules, now he is elbow to elbow with his wife, Eve, watching her take the fruit. He's with her, not out fishing, not behind a tree, not behind a bush. He's elbow to elbow right there watching her eat the fruit, knowing what his steward was. Adam, how come you're not engaging? Adam, why are you not engaging? You know the rules. You got the warning from God's mouth himself. But the world and the Christian world wants to blame Eve. Eve took the fruit. Eve took the fruit. But the Bible says in the New Testament that through one man, sin entered the world. Well, hold on a second. I thought you said Eve took the fruit and then she offered it to Adam and he ate. He did. Take Eve out of the picture. You don't have to take her out of the picture. But as far as the blame game goes, move Eve to the side because Adam got the law from God. Protect this with your life. Something's lying in wait trying to get in. Boom. Eve is now in the garden. Protect her with your life. Something is lying in wait trying to get in. Satan's in the garden talking to Eve. That's why the Bible never blames it on Eve. The Bible blames it on Adam. We want to blame Eve because she took the first bite and then she offered it to Adam. We want to say that Eve seduced Adam. We want to come up with all this stuff when the Bible is very clear. Through one man, sin entered the world. Through one man, sin entered the world. Eve ate the fruit. Does not matter. God gave Adam a stewardship. You guard this garden with your life. Something is lying in wait trying to get in. You guard Eve with your life. Something is lying in wait trying to get in. Sin might have happened whenever Adam and Eve took the fruit, but they set themselves up for the fall of the world whenever Satan was allowed in the garden to even have a conversation with his wife. That's where sin started. Sin didn't necessarily start as soon as their taste buds kicked in from eating of the fruit. Sin started right before that. Whenever there was a serpent, whenever there was Satan in the garden having a conversation with Eve, that's where it started, because the law was, Adam, guard this garden with your life, protect it with your life, be a watchman, beware, something is lying in wait trying to get in. That was the first law. So when Satan is in the garden, sin has started. When Satan is talking to Eve, sin has started. Whenever they took a bite of the fruit, that is a byproduct of sin starting by Adam not manning up to his stewardship, his management capabilities, and allowed Satan to even get in the garden. So we can quit blaming it on the fruit, and we can quit blaming it on Eve, because the Bible says through one man, sin entered the world. The first time a man did not engage, the first time a man did not participate, the first time a man did not man up and do what a man is supposed to do, it caused the fall of the world. Let me say that again. The first time a man didn't engage, the first time a man did not man up to his responsibilities, the first time that a man did not do what God asked him to do, the first time, it caused the destruction and the fall of the entire world and every person that ever lived after that moment, all the way until Jesus comes back. What happened? One man did not walk out his stewardship. One man did not manage his goods, his gifts, his talents. One man did not walk out his responsibility. One man didn't walk it out. And it cost the whole world, everybody that ever took a breath of air from that moment, all gets, man, God's all over this right now. All that came down to one man not walking out his stewardship. It all came down to one man that did not want to walk out his stewardship. It has affected the whole world. Fast forward to all these years later, here we are today. Men, what happens when you don't walk out your stewardship? What happens when one man doesn't walk out his stewardship? It may or may not affect the whole world after you, but if you don't walk out your stewardship, why don't you look at those little tiny ones that are around you? I promise you it's going to affect them for the rest of their lives, and it's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. And if you're a man and you don't know that you're supposed to be pouring worth into your daughter's lives to help her get her identity and her purpose and her worth, if you think you're not partly to blame while she's out there running around looking for worth in some dude that doesn't care anything about her, you're sadly mistaken. The trail that she leaves behind, the depression that she finds herself in, the drugs that she finds herself in, the depression that she finds herself in, the alcohol that she finds herself in, whatever it is, the prison that she lands in, the drug rehab that she lands in, whatever that road looks like, I promise you, it didn't start from making a bad choice with the first bad boyfriend. It started back from the choice of the dad. The first time he decided not to walk out his stewardship is where it started. It didn't start with the bad boyfriend. It didn't start with her first joint. It didn't start from her first drink. It didn't start from her first rehab and the first boyfriend or the second or the third or the fourth. It started when dad, the first man in her life, decided not to walk out his stewardship is when it started. Blame her all you want to, but through one man, sin entered the world. Through one dad not walking out his stewardship, a life of destruction has started for his daughter. For you men, that don't know that it's your responsibility to see the gifts and the talents in your sons and cultivate those things and give him his identity. When you decide you don't want to do that, when you decide you don't have what it takes to do that, he goes to the woman. He thinks that he can find worth in the woman, and so he goes to the woman and he sleeps with the woman, and then it all feels good for the night, and then the next day he still feels empty. So it must be that that was not the right woman for me. Matter of fact, she's crazy. That girl's crazy. She's psychotic. She's whatever. And he goes on to the next woman because he's trying to find his identity. He's trying to find his manhood. He's trying to find his masculinity. So he goes on to the next woman. And as intimate as he can be with a woman is to lay with that woman. So he lays with that woman. And she can't give him his identity either. So he's lost again the next day. And so he goes on, and you find a man that looks back and he has this trail of destruction. He has this trail of women that he has just lessened their worth. Wherever they found him, he lessened their worth. And you find a man that is lost and he can't find worth in the woman. So now he's going after the woman and a drink. And when he can't find his identity and his manhood and his masculinity and the woman and the drink, then he'll try something else. Well, let's try drugs. Oh, that won't work either. You know what? These homeboys on the street, they keep telling me that they love me. They keep telling me that they want me to spend time with them. They keep telling me that they want me to hang out with them. They keep telling me, you know what? I'm going to spend more time with these guys. They're really my family, and this family has a title, and that title just happens to be a gang, but really, they're my real family. They're the only ones there for me. And then all of a sudden they cause him to crash out. They want him to be part of this family. You need to go rob this store. You need to go shoot this dude. You need to go stab this chick. You need to go do this and do this and this. And then he gets locked up behind those decisions when really all he was trying to do was find a family. He was trying to find a family because something inside him innately was looking and struggling for an identity. And when he couldn't find it in that gang, and he couldn't find it in the alcohol, and he couldn't find it in the drugs, and he couldn't find it in this woman, and this woman, and this woman, and this woman, or this woman, he can backtrack it to, oh my gosh, it was supposed to come from my dad. But when one man decides that he doesn't want to walk out his stewardship, and you want to say how stupid your son is for all these stupid decisions that he's ever made in his life, I just want you to know, through one man, sin entered the world. Through one man that doesn't want to walk out his stewardship for his son, you triggered. I don't care, blame him all you want to. Sure, he's got to pay the consequences for decisions. Sure, he's going to be accountable for his decisions. But I promise you that you will also be accountable for not engaging. I promise you will be accountable for deciding that you did not want to engage and initiate the starting process for your son that led through that trail of destruction. So now here's the picture that we have. We have a world of all these boys that don't know their identity. They don't know their masculinity. They don't know if they are a man or if they have the strength or what it takes to be a man. Out here looking for a woman to help him find his identity. And he continues to run into these women who have not had their worth poured into them by their father. So they feel less than. So this boy with no identity that is on the search for his identity comes with this woman who is looking for her worth. When they lay together and the next day he feels no different and decides that she did not give him any more identity or purpose, and he goes on to the next one. What worth she did have just lessened a little bit. And he goes on and finds another woman and another woman and another woman and another woman till he's empty. This girl who had her worth devalued knows that it hurts. And now she's starting to think there must be something wrong with me. Maybe there is something wrong with me. I don't know. But this guy here is showing me a lot of attention. And so this girl that is looking for worth goes on to the next guy. And if she finds another guy that does not have his identity in himself, his masculinity, he doesn't know how to love her. He's still trying to figure out who he is and how to love himself. So she lays with him to get some worth, and he lays with her trying to find some identity and some masculinity, and it doesn't work. And so this boy goes on looking for the next woman, that same girl who had some worth, and then it got lessened by the first guy, runs into the second guy, and her worth is devalued again. And then she goes to the next boy, and it's devalued again. And then she starting to feel like maybe I am crazy. Maybe the problem is me. Maybe there's something so wrong with me I can't keep a man in my life. Y'all have heard this. I know you've heard this. You may have been there, but I hear this every week from a friend of somebody. Maybe it's me. Girlfriend, it's not you. It's not that you're not enough for some man. The problem is that you keep bringing your need for worth to a man who doesn't know who he is and does not know his identity, doesn't know what his manhood, his masculinity is. He's coming to you for it. You're not built to give it. You're not built to give a man his identity. That was supposed to come from dad. When it doesn't come from dad, he comes to you, the woman, looking for it. You're not built to give it. When your dad does not build up in you your worth, you can't go find it from a guy because this boy was not built to give you your worth. Your dad was built to give you your worth. So when a man without an identity comes to a woman without a worth and they come together looking for those two things, the boy leaves a trail of destruction of women behind that he has just continued to devalue them. He doesn't see it as he's a player. He doesn't see it as he's a pimp. He doesn't see it as, all he knows is he's looking for something and he can't find it in this woman. It must be the chick. She's just crazy. And the girl's out here looking for her worth, and each guy that she's with devalues her worth a little more and a little more and a little more until she feels worth less. And then she'll begin to accept just whoever will get. Whenever a woman is built to receive worth and value from her father and she doesn't get it, she's going to go out looking for it. But when she finds it in the wrong men, it devalues her to the point to where she feels worth less. When a woman gets to a certain point, she's willing to accept, we call them, and God forgive me if there's kids watching or whatever, but we're just going to be real because that's what we do. These are the women that society wants to call a hoe, a whore, a slut, whatever, whatever, whatever. You need to take those words out of your mouth, especially you men, especially us men. We need to take those words out of our mouth, because the only reason they get those titles is because a whole bunch of boys that didn't have an identity came to all these women who didn't have a worth, and we didn't give them what we needed, and we marched on until we devalued them to a place they feel worthless. And the scariest part in this cycle is that a woman that feels worthless still so innately needs and craves and wants worth that she will accept it on any level that it is offered to her. You want to know why the woman stays in an abusive relationship? You want to know why a woman stays in a relationship where a man screams and yells and talks crazy to her? You want to know why a woman stays in a relationship where this dude puts his hands on her and talks down to her and verbally assaults her? You want to know why she stays? Because she has been made to feel worthless her whole life. We call her crazy. We call her stupid. We tell her to pack her bags and leave. But what we don't get is this woman has been so beat up and used to the point that she feels completely worthless. Any worth offered at all is a glimmer of worth and hope to her. It might make no sense if you're a woman who knows your worth and knows your identity and your purpose. This may make no sense to you. But I promise you, what I'm telling you is absolutely true. These boys are designed for this search of identity and masculinity, and women are designed for their search and their quest from worth. And it's all supposed to come from the same place. It's all supposed to come from dad. But when a man decides not to step up, when a man decides not to initiate, when a man decides not to engage, when a man decides not to walk out his stewardship, through one man, sin enters the world. And through one man, through one dad, when he does not step up, does not engage, does not initiate, does not walk out his stewardship, his boys leave a trail of women behind him on his search for identity and purpose. And his daughters leave a trail of men behind looking for her worth, until they both end up in places to where the parents are like, I don't know what happened. We raised them better than that. Well, you might have thought that you raised them better than that. The problem is, Dad, you did not engage. That's what you're seeing in society right now. That's what you're seeing in the dating game. That's what you're seeing in the marriage game. That's what you're seeing in the relationship game. That's what you're seeing in the friendship games. Right? That's the world that we're living in right now. That's the world. I just painted the picture of what you're seeing all the time. How come you can't go to Walmart and buy toilet paper without 10 magazines of a girl on the front cover showing everything that she's got? How come you can't buy candy without having magazines all in your face, because the world has figured out that men are on the quest to figure out who they are, what their masculinity is, what their manhood is. The world has figured that out and now has turned that into a market, has turned that into commerce. They are playing on our weaknesses. They know that, all the cartoons, all the talk shows, they picture this dad as this dumb ox that lives in the house and everybody runs all over him because he's just so stupid. He doesn't get it. And they play it off as dads are just these sex hungry men that can't think for themselves. That's what we're putting on TV, and we call that comedy. There's no respect for the dad whatsoever anymore. And you can't blame the world, you can't blame society. You can only blame us men. You can only blame us dads, because that's what we've been portraying to people. But the world is playing on us guys. It's playing on us. It's playing on our weaknesses. It's playing on our lack of identity, not knowing who we are. Since we don't know who we are, it's all sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? Revenue. They're making money off of men not walking out their stewardship and passing it down to other men. The world is making tons of money on that. Women that are looking for their worth, they're making money off of that too, knowing that men are out there looking for that. It's just gotten crazy. Through one man, sin has entered the world. Through one man, father, sons are leaving a trail of destruction. Women are leading a trail of destruction. Boys are looking for their identity and the purpose and their masculinity. Women are looking for their worth. The trick is, whenever a woman finds her worth, it makes it that much easier to find her identity and purpose. A woman loses her identity and purpose along the way because this worth thing is just such a big deal in a woman's heart. It's not her fault. It's by design. It's by design. That's the connection between the daughter and her dad, is his ability to pour worth in her. I joke all the time about talking to my daughters. Always tell them that they're pretty. Always tell them that they're beautiful. I've got an inside joke all the time with my kiddos. I'm like, y'all are just so pretty. Can I scar your face up just a little bit? Because I don't want all these boys coming to my house when y'all get older. But that's a joke. And they, no, daddy, no, daddy. And their comment back to me always blesses me, because they say, no, daddy, God made us this way. Or if I say, Hattie, how did you get so pretty? Phoebe, how did you get so pretty? They just blow it off. Dad, God made us this way. We can't help it. I love that they already know that. They know that they're pretty, and they know that the reason they're pretty is because God made them that way. And I tell them every day as much as possible, not that their worth is solely on their beauty, but I want them to know what I think about them, and that I think and I know that they're beautiful. My joke in my head is that my girls, I want to try to pour enough worth and value into them that when they get old enough and these stinky boys come around, and they come up to Hattie, for instance, and say, "Hey, girl, you are so fine, girl. You are so pretty." Da 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 da. I want her reaction to be, "I know I am. My dad's told me that all my life. What church do you go to, clown?" That's that's what I'm shooting for. If I get there, I feel like I've made it at fatherhood, being a daddy. If some boy tells her she's pretty, I want her to say, "I know I am, because my dad told me that my whole life." What church do you go to? Do you have a job? What do you got going for you? What's your purpose in life before you even try to talk to me? So anyway, so the men were supposed to protect, guard with their life, beware, be a watchman. Something is lying in wait trying to get in. Okay. The women, God said, it's not good for man to be alone. We also uncovered that um, Adam needed a helpmeet, and we broke down that Hebrew to mean a sustainer beside him, not a girl that the guy would put his foot on her neck and hold her down, not a woman to walk way behind him, but somebody, again, to walk elbow to elbow with, that would sustain him. That's where Cheri's going to come in here in just a second. And then the third one we found out was God puts Adam to sleep, takes the rib out, creates woman, and it says that God brought the woman to Adam. Through God's eyes, a woman was a gift to the man. Not property, not a possession, but it was such a beautiful creation, more than just looks. But her looks, and then her ability, what she was going to bring to the table. This man has this massive calling. And you can't say it's not massive, because if he screws it up, it messes up the whole world for the rest of eternity, and not the rest of eternity, but until Jesus comes back. That's how crucial his role was. That's how crucial his role is. So she's a gift, yes, because of her beauty, but she's a gift because this man has this massive call, and God knows that he can't walk it out by himself. So he makes a sustainer beside him, somebody that's going to sustain everything. And I'm not going to steal any of Cheri's thunder because she's got some really good stuff to go with this. But the Hebrews, whenever they're teaching this thing on stewardship, they paint the picture because the Hebrew language is a pictorial language. They're always using pictures to explain things. They draw or paint a house, and the house is the woman because she literally, her biological makeup, she houses life. So she houses life during the 9 months that that child is being um, raised inside of her own womb. The mom eating everything that she's eating and all that stuff, she is sustaining life. She literally is keeping this baby alive by eating and drinking herself. So her body says that a woman's call, one of her purposes is to sustain life. And Cheri's going to go more into detail on this. So what is the man? If stewardship is this picture of a house and the woman is the house, what is the man? The man is the door. The man is the protector. You protect it with your life. You protect it with everything that you've got. You're a watchman. You beware. Something is lying in wait trying to get in. What part does the man play? He's the door. And whatever a man invites into his this is the struggle with like pornography. Anything that a man invites into his life, here's the image that I like to portray. Let's talk about pornography because it's a very ugly subject. And it's very powerful. So when a man invites pornography into his life, here's the image that I give to the men that I talk about. Since you are the door and the woman is the house and she houses life, while she's in that house, she is literally sustaining life, sustaining everything that's going on inside that house, the children, whatever's going on in the house. The woman is sustaining those things. Man, you are the door. So whatever you invite into your life, I want you to imagine yourself opening the door, pushing it open, stepping to the side, and waving like this to invite it into your home. Because a man is the door, whatever you're allowing into your life, your mind, your personal life, you are kicking the door down or opening the door, swinging it open, and you are doing like this to let it usher it into your family. You're the door. You're supposed to stop the stuff at the door. You're supposed to keep that stuff out. You're supposed to protect that house and everything in it with your life, guard it with your life. Something is lying in wait, trying to get in. You stop it at the door, meet it at the door. But as soon as you don't walk out your stewardship, as soon as you don't engage, as soon as you don't get interactive with your stewardship, all you're doing is opening up the door, swinging it open, and allowing everything to come in and wreck everything that's going on inside of there. Um, so that was kind of the basics of what we talked about last week: stewardship for humanity, stewardship for men, women, for couples, and it goes deeper than that and on and on. But I don't want to talk too much because Cheri has some good stuff, and we're probably going to get a little bit of echo. But I'm going to try not to talk too much because I want her to say um, whatever is on her mind. So hopefully, Cheri, you are still here watching. Matter of fact, Cheri, pop a comment up on there so I can bring you on here, or send me a request so I can bring you live. But Cheri asked me this question a couple of days ago. She goes, "Hey, understand the man's stewardship, protect everything, guard everything, beware, be a watchman. Something's lying in wait trying to get." She said, "On this woman thing, you kind of said it's not good to leave the man alone. I get that. The woman is going to be a sustainer beside him, a helpmate to help her, things like that. And she's a gift to the man. I get that, but can you give me some more on this woman thing? I just feel like there's more there." Okay, there you are, Cheri. Go ahead and send me a request because I'm going to talk for like 2 more minutes and then bring you on. Cheri brought it down like this. She's like, okay, a helper, a sustainer, and then she used another word that's not coming to me right now. But when we were talking about this yesterday, I told her, hey, that first one, Cheri, what was the word that you asked? You gave me 2 words, and I told you don't focus on this one. Focus and dig a little bit deeper on the sustaining. What was the first word you gave me? Do you remember? I'm just going to bring you on. So y'all deal with the echo for a few minutes, and then I'll shut up, okay? Because I need her involvement real quick. She should be coming in. The guest declined the live video. Woman, you better get on here. Send me another one, Cheri. I lost you. Nurture. Okay. So she said, She said, I understand that we're the nurturers and that we sustain and yada, yada, yada. What else do you got? And so I told her, hey, nurture's pretty easy to figure out. We picture women breastfeeding or raising kids in their womb, breastfeeding, taking care of the kids, making sure they're up for school, nurturing. We get that one, but that one doesn't sound just real exciting. Like, man, if you don't do what you want to do, it's going to cause the destruction of the world. That's a big deal. Woman, just pamper everybody is what it sounds like. And it's so much more than that, so much deeper than that. And I did it a real disservice last week. So I told Cheri, quit just getting nurture off the plate, because that's real easy to wrap your mind around. Nurture, take care of things like that. Go digging on this sustaining thing. Go do a word search, a word study on what it really means to sustain. And I'm not going to steal her thunder. I'm going to let her say whatever she's got to say, and then I'll wrap it up. But she's got some good stuff. No pressure, Cheri. But it's got my mind just wheeling, man, on this sustaining thing. How and really, really important it is for the woman's role, her sustaining power, and all that good stuff. Cheri, send me another deal. I got to bring you on. You're up. But anyway, so this is Cheri going to be coming on here in a second if she sends me another deal, and then I'm going to be quiet so it don't echo. Cheri, can you send me another request or whatever? Oh, there it is. Cheri, when you come on, just take off however you want to.
All right, we good? All right, so basically what I was asking him was, I understand we're supposed to support them, we're supposed to love, we're supposed to nurture, although I'm not a nurturer at all. I'm not a helicopter mom, I'm not a Karen either, but I'm one of those that's going to grab my kid and like pat him on the butt and say, get up, do it again, and we're good. But so he sent me on this. It was like Alice in Wonderland, rabbit hole upon rabbit hole upon rabbit hole, because he was asking me to look up sustain. And so I looked up sustain, and what I actually looked up was not the definitions necessarily, but like the synonyms and the antonyms involving the two. So it actually ended up kind of weird, because sometimes it's easier to see what something is if you see what it's not. Antonyms for sustain are to decline, to turn down, to dodge, or to reject. And I was telling Jason that it's actually really, really funny, because if you think about it in a relationship type way, if you're out and about and you meet a man, and let's say he wants to send a drink to you at the bar or wherever you're at. If you aren't interested in him, if he's not if he isn't partner material for you, then you decline his offer, you turn him down, you dodge or reject him, you reject his advances, and those are actually all of the antonyms to sustain. And it seemed actually kind of funny to me, because if they're not who we're supposed to sustain, then God already has like a huge barrier there that says, okay, you're not supposed to sustain him, so you do the exact opposite. But if you think that this is a decent guy, or you're kind of interested in him, he's a good looking guy, or for whatever reason he got your attention, you see him, you accept his offer, you consent to him coming over to say hello, to see, to accept, to consent. Those are all part and partial to sustaining. And it's really not weird, but it's just going down through how everything goes. If things go well, you meet his family. You hope they accept you. He gives you gifts. You receive gifts. Again, all synonyms to sustain, because it's feeding. It's a feeding nature. And even once things, because you go through your honeymoon phase, and then once the honeymoon phase is over and you get down to real life, you go through your arguments, and as women, I can't tell you how many times I've sat there and said, okay, we have an argument or whatever, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to agree to disagree, or uh, I'm going to hear him out, or I'm going to swallow my pride. Whatever the case may be, again, those are all synonyms to sustaining, because you're enduring something. We go through childbirth. Uh, we go through sleepless nights as women, as moms, and all of those things, again, those are sustaining. We are sustaining the very thing that we're helping to create at that point. Uh, and if we don't, because as women, we're supposed to respect our husbands, we're supposed to respect that male figure in our life. He's our door, he's our protector, he's supposed to guard our heart and make us feel secure. If he's not doing his job and doing that, then we are actually, we start to reject him, and we start to undercut him. And I mean, we literally, like Jason was talking about as far as Adam and Eve, we literally cut the head of the snake, both proverbially and literally, because we are literally undermining everything they do at that point. We are supposed to listen to them. And believe me when I say that 5 years ago, if somebody would have told me that I would be talking about submitting to a man, I would have told them they were crazy. But what I've heard so many men say is submit, 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 submit. But they don't really go into why and the how. The men want to scream, and I say men, they're not really men, but they want to scream, woman, you're supposed to submit to me. But what they fail to realize, and it's a very basic function, we won't submit until you give us a reason to submit. You've got to protect us. You've got to make us feel secure. You have got to make us feel like we're content in our little house before we will ever submit. And it's just like with Adam and Eve. Adam is sitting there, he's not paying any attention, and Eve's talking to a snake, or however you want to put it. But instead of Eve going over there and saying, hey, there's a snake. Well, as women, how many times do we sit there and talk about our husbands, our boyfriends, whoever the men are in our lives, and say, well, I told him to take out the trash, or I told him to do this, or I told him to do that. And we give up and we do it ourselves. Well, by doing it ourselves, yeah, we're handling our business. But what the other part of the problem is we're emasculating the men. We are making them feel like less. So they're not only do they feel like less, now they're not doing their job, and they feel like we don't need them at that point. And so we're sitting there, and I mean, it's just like Adam and Eve. She should have been over there. Hey, Adam, there's a snake. Adam, there's snake. There's snake. There's snake. There's snake. Until he listened to her. If he doesn't listen to her, then she's supposed to grab him by the arm. She's supposed to take him over there. She's supposed to point at the snake. She's supposed to do whatever she has to do to get his attention, to make him focus and make him see that there is a snake. But it is never once her job to kill the snake. That is not her job. By cutting off the head of the snake, by killing the snake, then she is completely taking away his entire reason for being. So as a woman, we're supposed to sit there, and I get so frustrated over doing it. But I am trying to raise my own little man, and God love him. He's special some days. Today was one of them. But I'm sitting there going, baby, there's a snake. There's a snake. There's a snake. Can you get the snake? Can you kill the snake? Can you kill the snake? Can you kill the snake? And by the time I get done, there's about 3 or 4 cuss words in between the words, but I'm still yelling at him to kill the snake. But it's not my job to kill the snake. So I have to keep telling him until I finally have to drag him over there and say, kill this dang snake right here. Even if it means holding his hand, helping him chop the head off the snake, and then on top of that, as a female, we're supposed to applaud them and say, good job, baby. Good job, little Timmy. You killed the snake. What is super funny about this whole thing is, as women and men, we are echoes. We are literally both opposites, but it fits together almost like a yin and yang. So I was telling Jason, I was like, it's almost like dropping water in a bucket or in a pond. You can sit there and you're telling that man, hey, baby, you need to come over here and you need to kill the snake. Please kill the snake. Kill the snake for me. And if he ain't listening and you go over there and kill the snake, boom, you've emasculated him. You make him feel like he is not good as a man. So what he does as a man, instead of addressing the issue and going, well, dang, I probably should have killed that snake. I'm going to do better next time. No, he's not going to do that because that's too easy. He's going to go and he's like, you know what? I'm going to beat on my chest, He-Man, warrior, whatever. And he is going to sit there and he's going to try and conquer something, whether it be another woman, whether it be going and getting drunk, whether it be throwing himself into his job, whatever the case may be, he is going to try and conquer something. So the next time that the woman comes to him, she's like, baby, there's a snake. There's a snake in the garage. Can you go kill a snake, please? And she's got just a little bit less gusto when she says it this time, because last time he didn't go kill the snake. So she really don't want to spend all that time yelling at him to kill the snake. So she's sitting over there and she's like, baby, can you come kill the snake, please? And about the third time she tells him, she's like, you know what? I'll just do it myself. Boom. He's emasculated again. What does he do? He throws himself deeper into work. He throws himself into other women. He throws himself further into alcohol. Whatever it takes for him to be able to conquer something and feel like more of a man. The second time, the third time she comes, baby, there's a snake. You know what? Don't even worry about it. I'll kill it. Don't worry about the snake. And they get in an argument. How many times have we gotten in an argument over you telling somebody, hey, I need you to do this, and they don't do it, and you get so used to having to just go back and forth, you get tired of it, and you're like, you know what, I'll just do it my dang self. We do that all the time in relationships. Well, what happens is, next thing you know, you've got an argument started. And the man's like, well, why didn't you even tell me? You didn't even tell me there's a snake. And the woman's over here going, well, you know what? I've told you the last 3 times there's a dang snake, and you didn't go kill it, so I killed it. And if you don't want to feel like a worthless sack of crap, then maybe next time you should go kill the snake. And that's how it all works. And it's just like, drops in a bucket. You'll get a drop in a bucket and a drop in a bucket, and all you're doing is having a ripple effect every time it happens. Maybe there's a snake maybe there's a snake. I need you to go kill a snake. He don't go kill the snake, boom. You go kill the snake. He's emasculated. He wants to go conquer something, so he's over here doing God knows what, trying to look like a man, and he's not handling this over here. And as women, we get so frustrated because we're supposed to be this huge support system for him. We're supposed to be the house. He's supposed to protect. We are supposed to support. We're supposed to applaud him. We're supposed to do all of this stuff. And yet he's not doing his part. So then we're sitting over here and we've taken over his role on top of our own. So we're dealing with the kids, and we're dealing with the cooking, and we're dealing with the cleaning. Now we're having to go out in the yard and kill the dang snake because he won't go kill a snake. And we're having to do all these things, and we get frustrated as women. And it's like, you know what? I don't understand why in the heck he wants me to be his support. Why am I supporting him? Why am I going and telling him 50 times to go kill the snake? I've got all these kids to take care of. I'm frustrated. I'm tired. Ain't nobody helping me. Who's going to support me? I don't feel secure. I don't feel protected. Who's going to do that for me? Because it ain't him. He's over here drinking and partying and other women and working too much. There's nobody to support me. So we get frustrated at that. And the whole time, it's just drop after drop after drop, and all these ripples of what's going on, because we're telling them to kill the snake, but they ain't killing the snake. Well, we get frustrated because they don't listen to us the first time, which, by the way, they probably ain't ever going to listen to us the first time. So, but we just need to keep telling them anyway. That's our job. Support. And they're over here doing their own thing. Well, we've got to somehow or another, I mean, I don't know if it's grabbing them by the face or by the ears and just staring them straight in the face and going, damn it, kill the snake. But you've got to get their attention. Because if you take their job away from them, then they're not a man no more. And then you're back to dealing with little boys. He's emasculated. He wants to go over here and have, I don't know, a midlife crisis or whatever the heck the case may be. But he's over here doing his own thing, and you're over here handling all the business. You can't keep handling all the business. You're frustrated at that point. And guess what? If you have a son and you're handling all the business, you aren't teaching him what he needs to know anyway. He needs to be teaching him. So we're sitting there doing this, and before you know it, it looks like a big old thunderstorm. You got all these raindrops and all of this ripple effect and everything else, and you don't have calm water anymore. Then you're trying to paddle a boat in the rain, and nobody can do that. You have to really know how to navigate to do that. And that's what me and Jason was talking about. As women, we're supposed to be the spotter. Men are supposed to be the sniper. Men are supposed to be the shooter. The men are supposed to kill. We are supposed to be the communicator. We're supposed to be figuring trajectory, bend, whatever the case may be. We are supposed to be the effective ways of communication. That's why we talk so dang much. We are supposed to open that door for them, and we're too busy just trying to handle stuff, and we're trying to be the sniper and the spotter, and you can't be both anymore. And that's something that I've learned through all of this. And believe me, this is a whole work in progress for me. I got raised that, my daddy raised 2 girls, and he raised us to not need a man. So I am literally going against 37 years of my daddy telling me, baby, you don't need a man. And he's right. I don't need a man. I can be a house without a door. The problem is I'm still going to get critters coming in, and I don't want to.
That's good.
And I mean, a man can be a man without a woman. There ain't a problem. You can be a door. You can be a door, but when the wind blows, what's going to happen to the door if it ain't got a house and it ain't got no support? The door's going to fall over. That's the problem that we're having, is so many people are wanting to swap roles. And I was telling Jason also that, it gets right down to the nitty gritty of what women are. We are supposed to be these things. We're supposed to be the support. We're supposed to be the, what was that word? It was carpentry words that came up: to shore up, to support, stays, buttress, trusses.
Yes.
Those things are all carpenter terms. Excuse me. And one of the things that stuck was a truss. To truss something means to gird it up, to cinch it up together. As women, I mean, we gird our waist. I don't know how many women I see in waist trainers. I can't breathe in them. I'm just going to be chunky. But we gird up our waist. We wear fake lashes. We do our makeup. We fix our hair. We make ourselves pretty. And whenever we're really we're like, hey, I'm feeling kind of sexy, can we have some alone time? What's the first thing we do? We put on stuff that's revealing or lacy or whatever the case may be. Again, they're all synonyms to sustain. And as a man, when a man walks into the sexy time, what they do is they untie, they unfasten, they loosen. All antonyms to sustain.
Yes.
Meaning to undo. We gird up, we gather everything together and we make it pretty. They undo. That's their job. We gather everything up. We make babies. We gather them up cell by cell, and we make babies. They undo. They kill. They they do their part. And if we try and take all that over, and we try and do the killing part and the baby making part, we ain't going. There ain't enough of us. So that was more or less what mine and his whole conversation was about. This is learning, not just Bible wise, but learning as far as myself, my frustrations, my irritations, my going into the house and being like, baby, kill snake. And he's sitting there going, well, baby, you know what? I had a rough day. I'm tired. You know what? I'm tired too. You still gonna get up and kill the snake. That's our job. We have to tell them. We have to be the lookout. And we have to keep looking out for them, even when they ain't sometimes looking out for themselves, even when they ain't trying to hear it, even when they're telling us we're nagging. That's when you tell them, you know what? You kill snake, I wouldn't be nagging. I'd be right back in there with you watching TV. So that is the long and short of what I learned the last 2 days. Thank you, Jason.
Awesome. Hey, you did fantastic, Cheri. Awesome. Um, you actually ended like I made some notes of what I read and what we talked about, but you hit everything. So I wanted you to hit one more thing, one more time for me, whatever comes to mind. So I thought it was real powerful that you said the synonyms for sustain had to do with carpenter words, right? And isn't it funny that Jesus was a carpenter? But what I want you to hit on one more time, real quick, is where about it? You said that women, as far as sustaining goes, y'all are the foundation and the support beams to the door. A door needs the support. It can't keep. Um, the door can't keep you out of the elements by itself. Just hit on that one more time, whatever comes to your mind to pray. Sustaining is carpenter words. The door by itself is almost useless, pretty much, because even the trusses, like you were breaking down the word truss, the truss, the support, the beams, they hold the door up. That paints a really good image in my mind of what a woman does.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the woman is the foundation. She's the support. She's the beams. She's the trusses. She's the entire house except this door.
Yes.
A woman can be a woman without a door. You can be a house without a door. Like I said, you're going to let the critters in, but you can do it. You aren't going to be protected. A man can be a door. He's the door. He's what protects. But the problem with that is the door. If you're out in the elements, I mean, you can hold that door up over your head for as long as you want to, but eventually you're going to get tired. It ain't going to keep you from anything for very long. Women, as sustainers, we're literally giving them life too. We are as their lookout going, hey, you know, this is what you need to do, or this is what I think you should do. And our job is to back them. Without the rest of the house, if you stand that door up and the wind blows, that door's going down. But if you put that door on the house the way it's supposed to go, it's not only going to protect the door, it's going to protect the house. The wind is going to blow and it's going to hit the door. The door's not going to go in, so that protects the house, so the house is safe. The wind's going to blow and it's going to hit the door, but the house is all around the door, so the door's safe. The door's never going to fall if you do it right. You can't shoddy build it and be like, oh well, this, that, and the other. I'm going to skip a couple of steps and like use Play-Doh instead of nails. You can't do that. But if you do it right and you do it right the first time and you keep doing it, then you end up with something that's impenetrable.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you, Cheri. You did awesome. You seem natural at it. You did good, so we will have you back. You did fantastic. No, for real, you did awesome. I'm proud of you, and I love you so much.
Love you too.
All right, I'm going to take you off of this screen just so I can wrap it up without the echo.
Go.
Love you so much.
Love you.
Oh man, that was awesome, man. Um, I took a whole page of notes just from our phone call and our messages, and she actually hit every single thing that I wanted her to hit on. But just one of the many things that she said that was so powerful to me was that the door can't stand by itself. Like the woman is the support, the structure, the trusses. Even that holds that door. Besides the whole rest of the house, just that part, the door frame, all those things that hold the door up. And I'm just this image of holding him up or pushing him up, encouraging him, sustaining him. He can't do it on his own. And because men aren't taught their stewardship, I'm sure the women do feel like they're having to sit back and, hey, there's the snake, kill the snake, over and over and over again, repeating themselves. The husband thinks that it's nagging, but what he doesn't realize is you're not walking out your stewardship. She's the spotter, and she's blowing the whistle. She's trying to call you into your stewardship. Instead of stepping into it, you're labeling her a nag or a nagger. So just, man, just good stuff. She had, between the last 2 days, she's just blown my mind with what I thought I already knew about stewardship, or what I thought I already knew about the man's role and the sustaining power. She just took it and blew it up and gave me so much more stuff. That's so good, right, Michelle? That was good stuff. I'm sitting here thinking about stuff still. Like, that was so good, Cheri. I hope you understand how awesome that was. And I guess the last thing that I want to say is that it's always struck me powerfully that whenever God like narrows it down in Ephesians chapter 5, he narrows it down to some real small stuff, and he tells the husbands, love your wives, or actually starts off, wives, that's something else. He starts off, wives, submit to your husbands. Well, Adam got the first stewardship. Adam got the first role, right? Because his is not superiority, but his stewardship has priority. Because if Adam doesn't do what he's supposed to do, obviously it ruins the whole freaking world, is what happens. So because he's not better than Eve, his particular stewardship is just priority. Because if it doesn't get through the door, it doesn't wreck the whole house. Even though the house is bigger, let's just face it, the house does more work. The women do more work. They have a lot more responsibility with this sustaining, nurturing power that they have. But the men, even though they're the door, they are what keeps things out. If they don't keep things out, everything that gets in the house tears up the whole house and everybody in it. But whenever God gets to Ephesians chapter 5, I think it is, yeah, Ephesians chapter 5, God breaks down men and women real quick in just a couple of snapshots, and he says, starts off with women, submit to your husbands. And I thought it was ironic that he started with the women, because the men's stewardship is priority. If he doesn't do his role, nobody's got a chance. But he starts off with women. Women, submit to your husbands. And then it goes on to say that women need to respect their husbands. It reduces everything that we've been talking about into a couple of things. Wives, submit and respect him. And if I was a woman, I would be screaming, man, he's not giving me nothing to respect. I get that, but God's got a purpose in all this, even if you're with a knucklehead. So, wives, submit, and and respect your husbands. When he gets to the men, he says, husbands, love your wives. He didn't say respect. He didn't say a whole bunch of things. That doesn't mean that you're not supposed to respect. What I'm getting at is he told the women and the men to do what does not come naturally to them. He told the men to love their wives because men, like Cheri said, are geared, they are wired to conquer. That's what men do. They are wired to protect, literally with their life. Their men are wired to conquer. So he's got to tell the man, hey, you barbarian, love your wives. The women, they're smarter than us a lot of times. They think faster than we do. Men compartmentalize. Women can have 75 conversations at one time and never miss a beat. They're sharper than us in a lot of areas. That does not make the men dumb. God made us the way that he did. We're problem solvers, so we stay in one box at a time until we whoop it, and then we go to the next one. But he tells the men, hey, you conqueror, you barbarian, love your wives. And he tells the wives, who are very sharp, very loving by nature, he doesn't tell them, love your husbands. Why? Because she does that by nature. She's a nurturer. She's a sustainer. God does not have to instruct a wife to love the husband. What he has to tell her to do is submit. Hey, I know you're sharper. Hey, I know you're smarter in a lot of areas. I know you could probably actually do a better job than a lot of things that he does. But what I would rather you do is submit to his leadership and respect him. So, number one, he starts off with the women because they're going to listen more than us guys do, and they're going to listen faster than us guys do. So, he tells her right off the bat the key to this whole thing is, wives, submit to your husband and respect him. And then it finally hits me one day why? Because the men are designed to conquer. He obviously tells the husbands, love your wives, because husbands don't do that naturally. They conquer naturally, they're not nurturers. So, he's got to instruct them to love. But here's the thing that he showed me: a man is designed to conquer. If what's it say? Submit to your husbands because he should have proven his worth. And what do you say, Marcus? I think it says women submit to your husbands because he should have already proven his worth in order for her to marry. Yes. So here's what I noticed. A man is designed to conquer. Okay, that's innately in him. But he's called to love. If the woman does not submit and respect him, because one, she doesn't feel like there's anything to respect or whatever. I mean, I'm sorry, submit and respect. Whatever her excuse is, here's the problem. If she won't submit and she does not respect the husband, because he's wired to conquer, he's not going to spend his life loving. He's going to spend his life trying to conquer her. That makes sense? God starts, even though the man's role is priority, because anything that gets in the door wrecks the whole house. When God narrows it all down to a couple of sentences on here's what you do and here's what you do, he starts off with the women first, because he's got the guy in mind stand. If this woman does not submit and respect, this man is not going to love. He is going to spend his life trying to conquer her, force her into submission, which turns in, instead of a leadership of love, it is now a leadership of fear and abuse is what it is. So I've just always found that fascinating, that the man's stewardship is not more important. It's not superior. It's just the order of priority. If so, even though the man's stewardship is ranked higher priority wise, whenever God breaks it down to the nitty gritty, he starts off with a woman. If you don't submit, if you don't respect, he's going to spend his whole life trying to conquer you instead of loving you. And that's what we see, all over the time. Yes, it absolutely will be abuse. So anyway, Cheri, thank you so much for being here and sharing with everybody what you shared with me the last couple of days. I love bouncing stuff off of you because you are not well churched and have not been in church your whole life, so you're not tarnished like most of us are that have been born and raised in church, where we got to fight what we've been taught and read and see what God says, not what our church necessarily says. So thank you for letting me bounce stuff off of you. Thank you for all of your questions that you have all the time after truck churches and stuff like that, and randomly what you're reading, because it provokes me to deeper thought too. So, but whenever you gave me this feedback, I could hear it coming from you, and it needed to come from you and not me. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your friendship and support, and thank you for sharing your heart with all my friends from a truck church. And I love you to death, Cheri. Thank y'all for being here. I'm going to pray us out. And just judging by the comments, y'all enjoyed that very much. I knew you would, because she has a way of putting things into words. So God bless you guys. I hope y'all share this with your friends and your family, because people need to hear this word. But Lord God, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for Cheri. Thank you for saving her. Thank you for putting a hunger in her for your word. Thank you for putting a hunger in her for your truth. And I just thank you for everything that you've done in her life. Thank you for crossing our paths way back then, and that we are still in contact today, even though we live so far away. I'm just very thankful for her and her friendship. Thank you for everybody here on Truck Church that's watching now and later. All these amazing people from all over the United States and even other countries that come and just meet here for a little bit so we can do Truck Church and get into your word. It just blows my mind, getting to meet everybody here on Tuesdays and get to share your word. Encourage each other, teach each other, motivate each other. I'm just super, super blessed. I love what you're doing with Truck Church, and I'm so thankful for all the people that you've brought into my life. I thank you for anybody that I've been able to have the honor of being a blessing to. And thank you for your word. I pray that you help us to hide it in our hearts so nobody can steal it from us. And I pray that things were taught and broken down in a way to where people can hear it and understand it. But even more so, my heart's prayer is that it was presented in a way to where people can take it to work, to home, to wherever, and teach it. I pray that we present it in a way where people can retain it and then turn around and teach it to other people. And I pray that people are motivated today to walk out their stewardships. Men. Through one man, sin entered the world, and we see the consequences of that. So just imagine if us men, choose not to walk out our stewardship, what is it going to do to all your relationships, all your friendships, your children, man, your children. We love you, God. Thank you for being so awesome to us. Jesus, you were awesome. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, amen. Last thing I want to say before we close is we talked a lot about husbands and wives and husbands with their children and stuff like that. It, all this worth and identity stuff is supposed to come from the dad. If it doesn't come from dad, it's supposed to come from God. If somebody can get them in tune with God or chasing God. But the cool thing about being a man and having the stewardship to pass down identity and masculinity to men and pass down worth to women, the cool thing is if you run into a girl that her dad is not involved or anything like that, because her dad is not in the picture does not mean that there's no hope for her. If you're a man that loves God and you know the power of your words, man, you think God won't put unfathered girls or boys in your life? Just think about it, church. All the single moms and stuff that are there. If you can establish a relationship with that young teenager or that child or whatever, because you're a man and you have that gift of passing down masculinity or worth, hey, guess what? You can speak up to people that are not your kids, that are not your teenagers, and do the same thing. It just takes a man that loves God and knows the power of his words to start speaking those things to young men and to young women. So somebody asked last week, well, we're called to be fruitful. What if I don't have any kids? Well, here's you a stewardship right here. Here's you a stewardship right here. If you're a man, start speaking life to the men, the women, the boys and girls that are in your life, in your family, in your church, in your whatever. Just because a girl doesn't have a father does not mean that she has no hope. Because a boy doesn't have a father does not mean he doesn't have hope. They just need a man of God to show up and start speaking. Okay? Love y'all very much. Y'all have a good night. I can't wait to go through there and read y'all's comments. Cheri, thank you again. I love you, girl. Y'all have a good night.